We rolling?
We rolling.
We rolling.
We rolling.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Whiteboard Podcast. I'm White, and he's Bored.
Barry.
And today we're going to be talking about sports and news, which is an original idea in the podcast world, and no one's ever done it
No one has ever done
before
it.
us.
Us, the bored white men, have had the first original idea, possibly ever, and decided to start a podcast.
It's the newest, best idea since sliced bread, because no one's actually ever done a podcast before that. We invented the word.
I remember back in those days when we were putting 2 loaves on a piece of meat. Couldn't slice the bread.
I wasn't alive back then.
This guy's a
I'm
child.
only 12 years old. He's 1,200. All right. So sports.
So sports.
Sports. I feel like something big has happened in the sports
Something
world
big
recently.
in sports.
Like it's some sort of Super Bowl or something.
So Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Uses that like for a lot of cereal.
Good joke, buddy. Put up the score on the board. Draw the Chiefs. Draw the Eagles. So
Jeez.
the Kansas City Chiefs had a 15-2 season, but it was basically 15-1 because that game against the Broncos didn't count because they sat everyone and they played Carson Wentz. I think was it Carson Wentz they played? So yeah, that game doesn't count. The Philadelphia Eagles were 14-3. They were the 2 seed in the NFC, and they won the Super Bowl 40-22. 4-0.
So who remembers what our predictions were last week? Because
What I meant to do was 33-27 Eagles win, but I watched it back and I put 33 for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because you said
I fully meant to say Eagles win, but close.
he is just changing his
Very dumb.
opinion
I'm incredibly stupid.
to seem correct.
To be fair, I did bet $5 that the Eagles would win with my friend Connor, and I have text message proof of that. So I did think the Eagles would win.
It's a good thing there's no video recording of what you actually said.
Yeah.
Wink,
That would be
wink. Go
great.
watch our other video.
Yeah,
because
watch it.
Last time I checked, it got 4 views.
3 of them were probably me.
And the other one was me.
Yeah.
So,
We're famous.
yeah. The good news is we can say whatever we want because there's no one here. And if there is anyone still here, well, pretend like you're not. We don't want a community.
Put something in the comments section below. Say your name.
Say your name, yeah.
Maybe where you live.
That'd be cool.
And if you have a boat that we can steal.
Oh, yes. So then we can do the broadcast.
We still want a boat.
We still want a boat. So stay tuned for the
Or
broadcast.
if you're an advertiser or like a company that wants to like have us shill stuff for you, give us a boat and we'll promote anything.
Yeah. We'll even do it just for clout.
Yeah.
Like we don't even need money. You just send us stuff and we'll do it because it's funny. Yeah. So
Or a boat. Send us a boat.
yeah, send us a boat. If you want to put us, or if you have a boat and you want to take us on a boat,
Yeah.
and then you could be a guest on our podcast, that would work too.
Frank Ragnow, hit us up.
Yeah.
I mentioned that last episode, and he isn't in my DMs yet.
He is not in mine either. It's just like a tumbleweed blowing through my DMs and then your mother.
She's not on Instagram.
Grindr.
She doesn't like social media. No, she's not on Grindr.
Your mother is on Grindr.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I see her every day. She's a very nice woman.
Drop your Grindr account in the comment section below.
So Wyatt, tell me, what are your takeaways of the big game?
This game sucked.
It did suck.
It sucked.
It did suck.
Just watching it. Snooze City.
It was terrible.
What is this? Nap City? I thought the halftime I don't have any thoughts on the halftime show. And I'm not the guy you should be going to for thoughts on the halftime show, so glazing past that. The commercials sucked and they always suck. People get hyped up for Super Bowl commercials, and that sucks. They're lame. They always suck.
Yeah, I feel like they were cooler back in the day.
Yeah, but there are also freak ones. There's always freak ones.
The freak ones are
Like
weird.
the tongue one from this year.
Yeah.
That shit was weird.
Also, I remember like a dancing like monkey
puppy baby.
Monkey puppy baby. I
Or
didn't
like
know.
Doritos or Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. Probably both. I think that's the
Thumbs
same
down.
parent company.
Thumbs down on that
I
bullshit.
did not like that. I did like the one. I remember this because it's a really formative part of my memory. It was a commercial for a Prius, and it's like a chase scene, but it's a Prius, and that marketing, I'll admit it got me. I like the Prius now because in my head the Prius is associated with a super cool chase scene.
Right. That's
and,
awesome.
And there's a like at the end of the commercial, there's a kid and he pulls out a Hot Wheel. And if you're a real fan of the pod, you'll know that I love Hot Wheels. And he goes, "Whoa, a Prius!" And I've been waiting for him to make a Prius Hot Wheel, so I could do that bit for this niche commercial that only I remember.
That's awesome.
So Mattel, if you're watching this, make a red Prius Hot Wheel. I'll lose my shit.
Or give us a boat.
Or give us a boat. I tell you what, you make a red Prius Hot Wheel, buy us a boat, and we'll open that on the boat.
We'll do an unboxing on that.
And I'll do the bit where I go, "Whoa, is that a Prius?"
You'll go viral. It'll be worth the money spent on us.
It will be so great.
But the game itself, bad. So
Yeah.
last week, we discussed what I consider a bad game. This was it.
Verbatim?
Pretty much, yeah. And the final score doesn't really tell you how big of a blowout it was. It was like, do you remember the wild card game between the Cowboys and the Packers like 2 years ago? Or
No.
last season? Last season.
No.
It was a wild card game and it ended 48-32, but it wasn't really that close. Like you could, all of those touchdowns scored by the Cowboys were in like the last four quarters, or the last quarter, the fourth quarter is
I feel like that always happens. It's like the rubber band effect.
Because I mean, the team that's up by 5 touchdowns is like, we'll slow down a little bit. We got this in the bag.
I like when the Eagles didn't do that and threw like a 90-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
Right as the announcer says,
awesome.
I think they'll take it slow now.
they'll run a little bit because the Eagles have a very good run game.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Even though their run game is a bitch. Fuck you, Saquon Barkley. They do have a very good run game.
I've got the stats up here, just the
Get the
ESPN box score, so nothing crazy. And Patrick Mahomes, 21 for 32, reasonable. 257 yards, reasonable. 8 average, 3 touchdowns, good. 2 interceptions, bad.
Yeah.
Pick 6, bad.
Yeah.
He didn't have a good game out there.
Speaking of pick 6,
Cooper DeJean.
shout out
Not a
Cooper DeJean.
safety.
I don't know
He is corner.
what makes him special. I see TikToks about
He's
it, but
white.
he's white.
That's it. There's very few white cornerbacks in the league.
Is he the only one?
I think there's one other one. There's like Riley Moss or whatever on the Broncos.
Well, he's on the Broncos. Who cares?
Yeah, well, he's good. But he's next to Pat Surtain, so no one talks about him because he's next to Pat Surtain, who's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cooper DeJean, white guys get excited over him because he's white guy.
Yeah, that's true.
But bad game for Mahomes.
Bad games for Mahomes.
Very bad game for Mahomes. How many rushing yards did he have? He led the team in rushing
Did he really?
with 25 yards. And this is the one thing about Kansas City, which has been like the missing point of their offense, is they haven't had a good run game, I feel like, in a couple of years. Like they had a solid one with Pacheco last year, but what they do to get rid of that is they throw a lot of screens. And a screen pass is basically an extension of the run game, and it's boring, but it's efficient because if you don't have a great running back or a great run blocking offensive line, you can just give it to Xavier Worthy, who's incredibly fast. Put him on an island against one guy. Odds are he's faster than that guy because he's the fastest guy ever. Literally, he broke the combine 40-yard sprint record.
And what's he? Is he a running back?
Or wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
He's number 1. Like a jersey number 1. Saw him catch a couple balls yesterday, yeah.
Got it.
You remember.
I do.
He made all of the good plays yesterday for Kansas City.
I thought that was D-Hop.
No, he made a couple good catches, and I'm a big DeAndre Hopkins enjoyer. I think he's a very good wide receiver, and he's just a little old now, so he's not like the focal point of that offense. Same with Travis Kelce.
Is Travis Kelce washed?
He is old. He had 4 receptions for 39 yards on 6 targets, which is fine, but that's not normally what Travis Kelce gets because he's, Travis Kelce. And in the playoffs especially, I think he's the best playoff receiver of all time.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy. I'm not sure if that's true, or like he's got all the numbers for playoff receivers. But he's old.
So do you think with all these old players like D-Hop and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes kind of fumbling, do you think Kansas City's going to go into like a rebuild?
No. What I'll say is the reason they lost this game is because the team's kind of built around Patrick Mahomes having a good enough game that they can win and having a really good defense. But the defense didn't hold up their side of the football, and Patrick Mahomes kind of had a stinker. That's why they lost. Do I think they enter a rebuild? No.
I don't know what that means.
A rebuild is like you start trading away all of your good players. It's like what the Titans are doing for the past 20 years. You have a good player. Yeah, the Giants should probably do a rebuild. You get rid of Saquon. You get rid of what's his name?
Danny Dimes.
Safety that went to Green Bay. Xavier McKinney.
Oh yeah,
he had a really good season. But you get rid of them, so you have a lot of money on the books. You have a lot of draft capital. Then you get new people in. Do I think they're going to do this? No, because they still have Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, who's one of the most exciting rookies that came out of this draft class. Andy Reid, who's really good. Steve Spagnuolo, who had a bad game, but he's a really good defensive coordinator. So they're not entering a rebuild. They might slide back a bit, but also I'm not going to say that they will because it's the Chiefs. They're going to find a way to be good.
Yeah.
So I would imagine the Chiefs draft a running back or offensive line help.
Yeah, they needed offensive line help.
They needed offensive line help bad.
I saw a stat saying that they didn't blitz a single time and still got 6 sacks. And as much
that's how you win against the Chiefs.
Right. But as much as I don't like Patrick Mahomes, he's a hard guy to sack.
He's elusive.
Yeah. He's a shifty little bastard.
Yeah. He's a sneaky little fella. But they don't have a run game. And Isaiah Pacheco has been hurt all season, but he had 3 carries.
Is that their running back?
One of their running backs. He had 3 carries for 7 yards. Kareem Hunt, who's been kind of running back 1 all year, had 3 carries for 9 yards. And Samaje Perine, who's been kind of like the running back 3. He came over from the Broncos during the offseason, I think. He had 1 carry for 8 yards. They don't run the ball much. And I think that's... First off, I think that's boring because I love a good run game.
Yeah.
That's why I love the
Lions. You need to establish the run game.
Establishing the run is good.
I still love Family Guy.
Yeah, whatever. But what they do is they replace the run game with the screen game. And when the screen game isn't working because it's too predictable and you can have people jump those quick passes like the Eagles do because they have a really good secondary. They got Zach Bond. They got Cooper DeJean. Shout out white people. So if Patrick Mahomes isn't on his game and he doesn't have time in the pocket, there's just not a whole lot they can do. And the Travis Kelce connection wasn't working. So they stunk.
Another tough question for the pod, and definitely not ripping this from every sports pod that I've seen a clip of on TikTok. Do you think this performance from Patrick Mahomes takes him out of the GOAT debate?
No.
Stephen A. Smith sure does.
That's stupid.
Do you think what do you want to get into the
GOAT debate?
The Mahomes versus Brady debate?
First off, right now it's Brady. He has more rings. And you can't call it until the career is over. Brady lasted until he was 5,000 years old.
Well, are we talking like peak or career?
GOAT is career.
GOAT is career.
GOAT is career.
Has to be the GOAT.
We're talking football.
We're talking football. LeBron might be the GOAT of football. Have you seen his high school highlights?
Whatever. If we're talking football career, the GOAT it has to be Tom Brady because who's won more Super Bowls than him?
I mean, Eli Manning beat him.
No single franchise has more Super Bowl rings than Tom Brady.
I feel like
he has 7. The team with the most has 6.
My favorite argument for the GOAT debate is the fact that Brady beat Mahomes twice, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy, by the way.
Sounds right.
It's like, I feel like if you have a GOAT debate and you got beat in the finals by the other option twice, I think you automatically lose.
It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't work like that because that's not how football works.
It is hard in football.
Because if it was like basketball and LeBron and MJ played against each other, that's LeBron dunking on MJ. You don't have Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes on the field at the same time. That's not how football works.
That is true. And the antithesis of that argument is Eli Manning. Who could be the GOAT? He could be the GOAT.
Let me pull up the
Because didn't
NFL.
Eli beat Prime Brady twice in the Super Bowl, or was that only the one time?
Twice.
Yeah,
07
I think it
and
was
12,
twice.
I think.
Yeah.
If I pull up the passing yard
I
leaders,
remember it like it was yesterday. I was 1 year old.
Eli Manning has the 11th most passing yards of all time in the NFL.
Yeah. Go Giants.
Sorry, man. Well, one day we'll talk about the future for the Giants, maybe.
We already have. It's nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Where is
Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito.
Mahomes on this list, do you think?
For all time or season?
48.
Season?
All time.
Oh.
He's 48th.
That's pretty good. Who's he below?
He's below current or all time? Because it highlights the people who are.
Well, like,
Still in the league.
what range is he right now?
He is below Cam Newton, and he is above Dak Prescott, Kurt Warner, Sonny Jurgensen, Norm Snead. He's above Randall Cunningham.
Norm Snead, as in the Snead from Dr. Seuss.
Jake Plummer.
These are not real people.
Terry Bradshaw. He's above Bradshaw.
Oh, I know him.
Joe Namath. But Joe Namath. Oh, Bobby Lane is 74th all time. He was like the first Lions guy.
That's cool.
Josh Allen 75th all time. Goff 34th.
Oh.
Which makes sense because current quarterbacks will have higher numbers because back in the day they just didn't throw as much.
That does make sense.
They leaned a lot on like Emmitt Smith
and
OJ Simpson.
Shout out OJ Simpson. We should get him on the pod.
I can't. He's dead. He is dead.
Oh. Nice guy.
But Tom Brady obviously number one.
That makes sense.
Most ranked.
By a lot or
by 9,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Because the gap between 1 and 2 is 9,000. The gap between 2 and 3 is 9,000. And after that, it's like
is the number 2 Peyton Manning?
It's Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, really?
Yeah. He was very good.
Who did he play for?
Saints.
The Saints?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he got drafted by the Chargers. I don't know if he ever played for them, though. Did he get drafted by the Chargers?
I don't know. I can't tell you a single thing the Chargers have ever done, ever.
That's fair. Speaking of the Chargers, Phillip Rivers is in 6th.
Phillip Rivers is in 6th.
He has like 10 kids.
Is Peyton 3 then?
Peyton's 3, yeah.
Peyton's 3, okay.
You know 4?
Aaron Rodgers?
Brett Favre.
I always remember him because there's a planet in Star Wars Battlefront called Renvarv. And I would call it Brett Favre, and it would piss off my brother.
That's really funny, man.
It was really funny.
Dan Marino's 9th. It's kind of shocking to me.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, the Dolphins quarterback from a while ago. He never went.
Was he the one from like the Dolphins curse era, when they were like almost at the Super Bowl a bunch?
Yeah, because he never won the Super Bowl, and that was after like the '72 Dolphins. Or that was a while after the '72 Dolphins, but they're the only undefeated NFL team of all time.
Wow, well, there's only been one,
including playoffs.
Including playoffs. It seems like a team would go.
You would think so?
Yeah.
Like the
Lions are going to be the first to do it next year. If I get that right, you have to blow me.
Yeah, deal. Lions were the first team to go 0-16, but I think it was 2007 when the Patriots went 16-0, and they made it to the Super Bowl. Eli Manning
lost to the 8-8 New York Giants. Oh, God bless Eli Manning.
God bless Eli Manning. Eli, come on the pod, dude.
Dude, I know that Eli is like super active in like the pop culture space. If by some miracle, Eli Manning, you want to come on this pod, I will probably blow you under the desk.
Don't. Guess who's 14th all-time passing yards?
Kirk Cousins.
He's not a current player. I've talked about him a lot.
It's probably like Dinkelberg or some shit.
Fran Tarkenton.
God. This guy just makes up people.
He's a real guy.
Show me the name.
Fran Tarkenton, 14th.
Oh, Matt Stafford at 10th. That's cool.
Yeah, of course he is. Again, if you have longevity in this current era.
What's the single season record?
That's going to be the Peyton Manning 5,500. Yeah. No one's close to that. Not even now that there's 17 games this season. No one's sniffing that record.
That's pretty awesome.
It is. He had like 55 touchdowns.
What do you think of the new Manning kid? You think he's going to be good?
I have no ability of talent assessment, you know?
Okay.
Like, I can't watch a college kid and be like, he's gonna be good or not. And the people who say they can are guessing. And then if they get it right, they say, look what I said. And if they get it wrong, they delete the post.
I do that. I do that with Formula 2 drivers. One of these days in my various podcasting endeavors, I'm going to talk about motorsports.
He's going to.
The Daytona 500 is next weekend, and it is the biggest sporting event of this week. And I feel like we might have to switch our hats and have me talk about sports.
I'm all right with that.
You should watch the race, though. And
Maybe.
you should watch the race because NASCAR is a dying sport. It's pretty awesome. They crash.
Every sport's kind of dying. Maybe we should talk about that.
The NBA is kind of not.
The viewership is declining.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What? That's
Fully because of how expensive it is to watch games.
That is true.
That's
It's
the whole
terrible
reason.
to watch games.
I don't know if the fan base is dying or if it's just viewership.
Yeah, no, that's actually true, especially because I feel like basketball appeals more to the it's easier to start playing basketball.
Yeah.
You don't need pads, you don't need a team. I started playing basketball last year in my driveway after being a robotics kid from all of high school.
And the highlights are obviously really cool.
Yeah.
Like a highlight in football isn't always like Saquon Barkley backflipping over someone level
I
exciting.
could have picked a better example, I think. Maybe
It's not always like OBJ one-hand catch, Garrett Wilson one-hand catch.
the best play of all time, OBJ.
But in basketball,
awesome.
there are multiple slam dunks a game.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting like
Yeah.
that. So it's not like baseball where the highlights
my
are guy
gosh.
swings a stick really hard. I love baseball.
I've never seen a baseball highlight that's been cool. That's not true. That's
There's
not
some
true.
really cool catches.
There's some really cool fielding plays
Yeah.
where they catch it and then sidearm whip it in a straight line to first base. That's sweet.
Or if you're a Mariners fan, there are some really cool catches where they catch the ball and they spike it in the dirt 3 feet in front of them. They suck.
Yeah, fuck you, Mariners.
I love the Mariners.
Oh, is that your favorite team?
No, Tigers.
Oh yeah,
are
good
one, obviously.
I mean, yeah.
But Mariners might be second. They've got a really cool history, man. They had Ken Griffey Jr. They had Ichiro Suzuki, recent Hall of Fame inductee.
Oh, I think I actually saw that.
Yeah, he got one person that didn't vote for him,
Yeah.
which is stupid. Because if Ichiro Suzuki isn't a Hall of Fame player, who is?
Jeter? Jeter might be.
Ichiro Suzuki has the single season hit record.
Uh-huh.
He has the most hits in a single season. He's really high on the leaderboard of career hits, despite the fact that he started his first 8 years of pro baseball in Japan,
Yeah, that's cool.
and those don't carry over
Baseball's
to the
crazy
MLB.
in Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see clips
Was
of
it Japan?
Japanese baseball.
I think
and it looks cooler than American baseball.
is it Japan?
Maybe because I always see the mega highlights. But yeah, baseball, I've always been of the opinion that baseball, it's entirely popular as a sport because of how conducive it was to radio. And I think the TV era is probably baseball is really good in person. Love the ballpark.
Oh, it's awful. It's awesome to watch.
It's awesome to listen to on the radio. If I ever feel inclined to watch a baseball game, which is never, but I think
It is Japan. Okay, yeah.
turning it on the radio, you get almost the exact same experience. Watching baseball on TV, terrible.
The only time I'll throw on a baseball game is I watch the playoff games on my TV when the Tigers made the playoffs. 'Cause
Yeah.
those are high stakes.
Yeah.
But if it's your team is 43 and 42, and it's in the middle of whenever that would be, and half of your players aren't playing because they're bored. I'm not throwing it
into
on.
another sport.
I mean, a lot of athletes have played two sports, and baseball is typically the other sport they play. Deion Sanders played baseball.
Aren't a lot of quarterbacks also baseball players?
Yeah.
Isn't who's the
Kyler
big-
Murray
who's
was
the-
a
Isn't
got
that
drafted.
a big quarterback that was a baseball player? One of the big names right now?
I feel like Allen might have been.
I think that sounds right.
It does. All of them probably played baseball at some
Probably,
point.
yeah.
I know Murray was a
Yeah.
high draft pick.
Joe Burrow seems like a baseball player.
No, he looks like a lacrosse player.
That's just because he's hot.
Yeah.
Lacrosse isn't cool.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is a sweet sport. I used to play lacrosse. I wasn't good.
How did I not know Ichiro played for the Marlins? In my head, he's only a Mariner, you know? Even though I know he left.
How many baseball teams are there? Is there a lot more?
30.
Is that a high number for like most leagues?
There are 30 NBA teams, 30 baseball teams, 32 NFL teams, and I don't know for hockey.
Yeah, hockey's all over the place.
I
like hockey.
I like it too. I don't know enough about hockey to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's the sport. Oh, 32 hockey teams. It's the sport I know the least.
Yeah,
about.
hockey is one of those sports, like, my only understanding of it is for two reasons. The first, I have Canadian family, so they, whenever, like, they follow hockey loosely. Yeah. And B, I played lacrosse. And lacrosse and hockey are, like, the same shit, but upside down. Like, box lacrosse, which is 5v5 lacrosse with walls. Really fun, by the way, because you get to slam people into the walls. I never did the slamming because I was bad at lacrosse.
I believe that.
But I got slammed a couple times, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's the same thing. And I like hockey and lacrosse.
Hockey's fun to watch. I know very little.
Oh, I know nothing about it. Box penalties are sweet though. I think we should start.
We should talk about that.
Doing box penalties in like regular circumstances. Like, could you imagine working in an office and your manager comes out? You did that report wrong. You got an hour in the box.
It's just time out. Man.
No, they just put you in a box with a window so you can watch everyone else work and just get pissed off.
Why? That's like a reward for most people. Everyone hates their dad.
That is true.
I guess it's a reward for you if you hate hockey. I wonder if there's ever a player who's like, man, I hate playing hockey. I'm gonna go punch someone so I can sit down for a bit.
You know what I love because hockey, what they do is they come out. This is at least my understanding. If you're a hockey viewer watching this, God bless you if you're still watching this. And I'm wrong about this. I could be way off, but at least my understanding is they have like a set of 5 guys that go out and they rotate all at a time.
Pretty much.
And when I watched my minor league local team, the K-Wings, shout out Kalamazoo, that's where I'm from. There's this one guy who's on like the 3rd line who's like gotta be like 6'7", and you could tell that he tried to play a realer sport. He's on a minor league hockey team. And he just takes his anger out on the first guy. Like, he gets out there, he just beams a guy and then goes in the box. And he never comes out again.
He's an enforcer.
Yeah.
I feel like we should move on.
Yeah, probably.
But I'll mention one more thing. Mm-hmm. Is that the Chiefs' defense did one thing very well, and that was prevent running backs from putting up numbers.
Yes.
They didn't stop a whole lot of rushing yards, because Hurts went for 72 yards on 11 carries.
That's kind of crazy.
But that's kind of different because it wasn't a lot of designed runs, so they were good at stopping designed runs, but not like Hurts scrambling and stuff. But Saquon Barkley had 25 carries, which is a pretty high number, seeing as he only had 57 yards. That's bad.
That is bad. Saquon Barkley's a bad running back.
His longest was 10.
He's also a bad person. Did you know that?
Is he?
Yeah, he's a bad person.
For what?
For leaving the Giants.
Oh.
Did our management probably trade him?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how sports works. But
was he a trade or a free agent?
I don't know. I don't know how sports works. I just know that he's a dirty trader because he was not this good when he played for the Giants. I don't care if you argue at me that the Giants O-line was shit and our whole team was bad. Saquon was not the best running back in the league last year. What are you reading?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if he was traded or what.
Oh,
I think he just left.
Oh, wait, you can do that?
Like free agency. You don't sign to that team again.
Yeah, so fuck you, Saquon. I wouldn't stay with the Giants either, though.
Yeah, for sure not. They were bad.
Especially with the massive amount of talent Saquon has. Yeah. As much as I like to shit on him and call him a traitor,
he's so good.
He's so good, and he's a fun player to watch.
It's crazy because the Chiefs got him to do nothing pretty much. His longest run of the night was 10 yards, and it's really common to see him bust like at a 70-yarder.
I feel like the defensive coordinator's game plan was to stop Saquon.
Yeah,
and they did that.
He did that very well.
They stopped Saquon, but they let literally everything else go through.
Also, a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. Mahomes kind of ate a dick.
Yeah,
the whole game.
He struggled. The Cooper DeJean pick 6 was rough, and then they just couldn't do anything on offense in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Which is partly why it was a really bad game, because it was just immediately a blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of lame. So you mentioned trades.
Trades, you want to go into that, or do you want to do one of your things first?
I feel like we could stay on the topic of
All right,
sports.
let's stay on the topic of sports. I feel like we should write something down,
Oh,
because we haven't in a while.
yeah. Here, you want to write a big number 77?
Yeah, in blue,
In
because
blue.
of the Mavericks.
Because they were Mavericks and we don't have yellow or purple markers. But Luka Doncic?
Doncic.
Luka Doncic, which I feel like sounds like one name,
A little bit.
has been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's a decent
So
77.
there's a couple big
That feels like
questions.
NASCAR.
There's a couple big questions to be asked here. The first, is this actually a good trade? What do you think, Dr. Sports, as you go to take a drink? Let me fill space for a little bit while he swallows.
I got nervous.
That was a great bit. Good job, us. For
Yeah,
the whole podcast.
we slayed that.
All right, you
For
talk
sure.
now.
All right.
A sip.
Good trade for who?
For well,
Like, was it a smart trade by both teams? No, I think the Lakers won.
oh, for sure.
Like, if we're going to talk about the perfect trade is a trade where both teams come out on top. We're from Michigan. The Goff trade, the Goff Stafford trade.
Yeah.
Both teams won that trade by a mile. That's like the ideal trade.
Yeah.
If we're looking for like the worst trade of all time, maybe the Herschel Walker trade.
I don't know who those people
Okay, so back a while ago, the Vikings, they were good.
are.
They've made the Super Bowl 4 times, I think, at this point, but they've never won it. And what they've been missing is a good run game. So they're like, we're going to go to the Cowboys and we're going to give them everything for a stud running back. Herschel Walker, the guy who ran for governor of Georgia, senator in Georgia a while ago, like 2020 election, he was a freak. Like a crazy guy.
Yeah, I mean, usually if you're a sports player that has brain damage and running for office, you will end up as president.
Yeah, he was like a MAGA fella.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they
then they're
spent
the brand.
everything to Dallas.
Uh-huh.
And they got Herschel, and he did very little. In a trade that seriously set the Vikings back for a very long time. And I'm happy about it, but I'm also sad about it because I really hate both of those teams.
But see, that's kind of how I feel about this trade, is if you look at what the Lakers have been saying for the past, like, I don't know, mainly what Anthony Davis has been saying. For those of you who don't know, Luka Doncic was traded for Anthony Davis, who was a
Was there anything else? I'll
very
pull up
popular Lakers player, by the way. The fan base was pretty pissed. I mean, it's hard to be mad because you get Luka.
Yes. Mavericks players are way more upset about this because Luka was the face of the franchise. At least the Lakers, they have Luka.
Right, and like AD's not the face of a franchise. As he's a great player, he's a wonderful player. He's kind of got a bad face though.
I mean, he's got the unibrow.
Yeah, but
Very good player.
yeah, but AD's not like. I feel like there's a big part of the NBA that's having a player that looks really cool.
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, like Cade
He
Cunningham.
balls and he's sexy.
Yeah.
Come on the pod.
Edwards is another sick player.
Yeah.
And Luka's a very cool player.
Tatum.
Tatum's cool.
He's cool. He plays very well. He's hot. I kind of
He's
don't
very
like him.
handsome. I don't like him either. He pisses me off.
He's just too. He's
too handsome.
Too good. Yeah.
I don't trust a handsome ass.
Also, he's a Celtic.
That too. Yeah.
Gross.
Celtics are kind of like.
Yeah.
But if you look at what Anthony Davis has been saying, he's been saying like, guys, you have me as the big guy, and Anthony Davis is a great scorer. He's not a great big guy.
No.
And they're like, we need more defense for a big guy, and they traded their only defensive player for the white guy who's known for not playing defense.
Very not great at defense.
He's
like Luka Doncic he's a phenomenal scorer.
He's a phenomenal
player. He's not gonna put up great numbers. He's not Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
He's not Dyson Daniels.
Yeah.
The Great Barrier Thief. We should talk about sports nicknames.
We should.
Sports nicknames are almost universally awful now because now it's just like AD,
yeah.
SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay, I will say that Sonic and Knuckles is pretty sick.
That's good.
That's
sick. The Great Barrier Thief. That's awesome. He's like, I think he's Australian. He gets like a lot of steals.
What do they call Wemby?
Wemby.
Oh, I guess Wemby's a nickname, but don't they call him like the Greek Freak is a sweet
Freak is
nickname.
good.
Greek Freak is a
good.
sweet nickname. Shout out Giannis.
Yeah, shout out.
Giannis would be a great person to have on a podcast. I like the way he talks.
Giannis, come on the pod.
You got a good voice, Giannis.
Giannis, we're big fans.
Yeah.
I'm not a Bucks fan though, so maybe I hate Cunningham.
I don't hate the Bucks. I think a Buck is a cool mascot.
It is. I think it's cooler than like, let's pick a bird someone hasn't done yet. You know, there are too many bird NFL teams.
There are too many cats.
There are only 4, but there are like 6 or 7 birds.
That's true. The fuck is a Nick?
Pants. Knickerbockers.
What a stupid mascot.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
There are the White Sox and the Red Sox too. What, your mascot is Sox? Shut up.
Yeah, that's true. The Knicks love the team, love New York sports for some reason.
Freak.
But get a better mascot. I guess our mascot's a piston.
It's a horse too.
That too.
We got like a horse.
Shout out Ford.
Yeah.
Pistons.
I don't know. I feel like in terms of swag for the Detroit teams, the Pistons are on the bottom probably.
Yeah, probably.
I like some of the turquoise jerseys. They're cool.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like it might be like Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons.
I'd put Red Wings above Tigers.
Really?
The red and white's iconic. Plus, the Red Wings is like the only team that's good. Like Red Wings.
Like historically, the
Yeah.
Tigers have had some really good seasons.
Oh, sure. I don't know shit about sports. I just know that the Red Wings were like one of the big
Yeah.
NHL teams for a while.
I mean, the Pistons have also had some good seasons back in the day,
Yeah, that's true.
but you know, they're bad now. We're okay.
It's a lot like the city of Detroit. We're on the comeback.
Yeah.
And by we, I don't mean me. I don't live in Detroit.
I don't
live what's here. So I'm closer to Chicago. I live in Michigan now.
Yeah, go blue.
Go blue. Nope, go green.
He said it.
Go green.
Clip it.
Nope,
Clip it.
don't clip
So
it.
Luka, I think the Lakers win the trade, especially because I think AD's out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't understand this move from the Mavericks.
Well, it's because they're trying to open a casino in Dallas.
Okay.
It's because the Cube sold conspiracy theory hat on, but kind of not really conspiracy theory. The Vegas billionaires that bought the Mavs from the Cube, R.I.P. the Cube, Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cube.
The Cube.
I stole that from Jinxie.
Just move on.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. They were trying to open a casino in Texas, and in the Texas Constitution, it says no casinos,
That
which
sucks.
is weird for a state like
For
Texas.
Texas?
But
Get a read.
it's in their
Texas, you're
Constitution.
all sorts of fucked up if you can't even have casinos.
This is a funny bit. The Texas government only meets, or the legislature only meets for 150 days every 2 years. So they do all the laws in a third of a year every 2 years, and they're meeting right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the harebrained theory is the people, I forget the names of can you look that up? Who owns the Mavs right now? But it's Vegas casino billionaires who it's been known that they've been trying to open a casino in Dallas.
Miriam
The Adelson
family.
Yeah. And they're leveraging the Dallas Mavericks to open a casino in Dallas.
That sucks, man.
Which does suck.
I think business should get out of sports. I think it's the least exciting and the most frustrating thing. It's like there was a season a while ago where all of the baseball teams colluded to block every free agent from signing, so they just had to pay them less. It's an obvious spike because there were 80 free agent signings, 80 free agent signings, 80.
It's just the teams unionized against
Yeah,
players.
it's crazy. And hopefully the teams start giving players more stuff because I don't want them to stop playing football.
Yeah.
If they go on strike, I'm done, man. That's all I got.
I think it's a big part of the TV deals being so profitable now, especially for the NBA, where NBA pays their players way more than most
They
of
get
them.
around 50% of basketball revenue or something.
Yeah, But now it's like having a good team and winning doesn't really pay as well as just having a team.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
especially if it's a bigger team, like a Dallas team.
Right.
And not like Charlotte.
Right. And like a player like Luka, who's, I think his contract was like $370 million or some crazy number, where you could trade him, probably make the same amount of money and save $380 million.
Because realistically, were the Mavericks winning the finals this year?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
He did kind of drag their sorry asses to the finals last year.
Honestly, I don't know. I could pull it up, like the NBA standings here. But right now the Mavericks are in 8th in the Western Conference, so they are a play-in team right now. That's out of 15, so they are below average in their conference.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good teams though this year.
A lot of the wins are going to the Thunder and the Cavs.
My personal prediction is that OKC makes it to the finals against the Knicks.
Okay.
No, I don't actually agree. I think it's going to be Celtics and OKC.
You don't think the Cavs make it?
I haven't watched the Cavs play, but I have a lot of faith in the Celtics. As I feel like that they're a team that just kind of like
they just know how to win.
They just know how to win, and I feel like as an organization, they're a much safer pick than the Cavs, even though the Cavs are a better team.
Yeah.
But I also haven't really watched either of them play this year.
I haven't watched a whole lot of basketball because it's so expensive.
That is true. I just know that Tatum's handsome ass is going to piss me off in the finals.
Also, it's worth saying that the Pistons are a 6th seed right now, and the Mavs are an 8th seed.
Yeah, that's true.
They're in different conferences, and technically, the Mavs have a better record than the Pistons. But I guess the West is just a little more stacked.
The West is pretty stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the Thunder, Grizzlies. Nuggets are up to 3rd now?
Or...
Why do I feel like they sucked earlier? Or I'm thinking of the Bucks. The Bucks started out real bad.
Yeah.
And now they're like 5th.
Yeah, because the Bucks were in the finals last year, weren't they? Was that 2 years ago? Or no, wasn't it?
Last year was
it
Mavs,
Bucks,
Celtics.
But wasn't it Bucks Mavs going as like the conference championship? Or was it maybe Grizzlies and Mavs? I don't know.
Timberwolves.
That's what it was. Because it was Ant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Cat. Now he's a Nick.
What?
K-A-T. Karl Anthony Towns.
No.
All right. Anything else you want to say about sports?
No, I feel like we're good on sports.
Did the Tigers make any moves recently? I don't think so. Not since the Conley move. It looks like Bregman's going to the Red Sox. Oh, no, it still could be the Tigers. So Alex Bregman is the biggest free agent in baseball right now. He's coming from the Houston Astros, and it looks like he's moving. So he's looking for a big contract, and a lot of the names that have been pushed out there for where he could go is Red Sox and Tigers, and I'm hoping Tigers because I want him to be good and on my team because he's good, and his name looks like pregnant. I like calling him Alex Pregnant.
So shout out Alex Pregnant.
Shout out Alex Pregnant. I wouldn't hate it if he doesn't come to Detroit. I think we have a good team where we are right now. But it would be cool if we got him.
I agree. All right. Starting with sports. We did talk a little bit over the allotted time for sports.
That's all right.
But it's cool.
There's no time limit.
I felt like we were good podcasting there.
Yeah.
Like I will cut out one of my props.
No, we can just go.
Well,
How long have we been going?
It's been 45 minutes.
Okay. We can shoot over an
hour. Yeah. I'd like to keep us under because I feel like when people see on YouTube like the more than an hour mark, then they get a little intimidated.
All right, we'll start with your second next time.
Man, no, it's cool. My second point was just about Kanye being a racist fuck. And I feel like that was a little played out. Everyone's heard this.
Sure.
The first one, though, I Googled, and I couldn't find a single YouTube video talking about it. So let's talk about it. Should Stephen A. Smith run for president? Why? You care to share? Because he's kind of a sports guy. Who's Stephen A. Smith?
Stephen A. Smith is a sports guy. In my defense, I don't watch ESPN, so I don't know the shows he's been on. nor do I watch the shows he's been on, because I don't get my sports takes from watching people talk about sports. Typically, I watch the sports and I get my takes from that, unless it's Brett Coleman. Brett Coleman, come on the pod. But Stephen A. Smith is largely basketball, or not really largely basketball, really just a sports personality. He talks about sports. He's got an ESPN show. He's one of those guys.
He does.
He's a funny guy.
He's a very well-spoken guy, too.
But the issue is, if you're looking for, like, well thought out, intelligent sports takes, you can't go to a guy who's on a show like his, not because he's a dumb guy and he doesn't have good opinions, but because that kind of show kind of depends on inflammatory opinions and talking about the popular teams to get money.
Yes.
Which is just how the ESPN
Which
cycle
sounds like a
works,
critique of
unfortunately.
every news agency ever.
Yeah.
However,
Especially for sports, it's like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp or whatever screaming at each other. That's how they get money.
Yep.
Instead of like actually talking about sports.
you think we should just scream at each other? You think we'll get more than 4 views doing that?
No, because we're not on ESPN.
It's true.
ESPN, come on the
Yeah. No, put us on ESPN. Could you imagine we get on like the Ocho? Not related to what I'm talking about. Have you ever turned on ESPN 8, the Ocho?
No.
It's always some random crap. I remember turning it on one time, and it was Quidditch.
Quidditch?
Like literally, like the brooms, and they were running around. It's like hobby horsing,
awesome.
but like a sport.
They should do that, but it's just us playing one-on-one basketball.
Dude, us one-on-one Quidditch basketball.
Quidditch basketball?
Yeah, with brooms.
All right.
Anyway, the story with Stephen A. Smith is about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Stephen A. Smith went on Fox News because he is a sports pundit and he is friends with one of the main journalists on Fox News.
Big Fox News fan.
Yeah, I love Fox News. I actually had to watch Fox News to like rehash the story, and it made me want to blow my brains out, Wyatt. I'll tell you one thing. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith went on to Fox News, and they basically, because he's a very vocal Republican, or not Republican. Sorry, Stephen A. Smith. He's a very vocal Democrat.
My apologies go out to Stephen A. Smith.
I believe he's employed by Fox News, or he was at some point in his career, but he works with Fox News, so he's on Fox News. And he kind of wiped the floor with the guy on Fox News. Like, there's some highlight reels of him, like, owning the libs, except for the libs are the conservatives.
Owning the cons.
Yeah. And it's
Doesn't work as well as
it's pretty funny. But one of the themes coming out of that is that he debated the fuck out of every Fox News person that they threw at him. Yeah. He chewed them up and spit them out. And the Democratic Party he's, I believe, the 5th most popular candidate to run for 2028 as of right now. But
who's above that?
There's Kamala Harris is obviously the most popular.
Is Walz up?
Walz is, I believe, 4th. The 3rd is the senator, or Newsom, the governor of California, and 2 is Buttigieg. Buttigieg is my personal favorite. Shout out gay people.
I'm a big fan of gay people. I wouldn't hate Walz.
He's
a football guy, and I like that.
Yeah. You want to stay champion with a 4-4 defense.
I'd take champion with a 4-4 defense. Except he is a Vikings fan, so.
I mean, he's from Minnesota.
Whoa. But, I didn't follow him that much, but he seemed like a likable guy.
He did seem like a likable guy. I'm personally against the whole idea of having a politician that is just a person. Like, I think Walz is a very qualified candidate in every regard. However, I feel like they always like wheeled him out in the back of a truck, like sitting on a hay bale, like he was just some Minnesota hick. And they're like, guys, look, this is our vice president, just a guy we found. And that was like, I guess that I get it from a campaign point of view, trying to combat Trump's personability, because as much as I think he's terrible, he's very personable.
Yeah.
And I think that is the wrong move. I think that there's an outcry for people to have at least in the Democratic Party, to have a candidate who is like qualified.
Qualified, yeah.
And I think this is nothing against Tim Walz. I think he is very qualified, but he also totally got eaten up on the debate floor by J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Which
He didn't have a great debate.
he did not.
What I'll say is I think people just like him more than J.D. Vance.
That is true.
Like the Democratic organization, like the people who are like, here's who we're gonna run. I don't know what they're called.
The Democratic Party.
The party, the party. I don't think they might not pick him because that's what they're looking for, but I think people would vote for Tim Walz.
I think people like Tim Walz.
I think he might have won if they just ran him.
That's true. I feel like as much as I feel like that this is not the way the world should be, and that this is bad, and I'm not saying this is good, don't cancel my podcast.
Or mine.
I think Kamala Harris, being a woman of color, was a it was very bad for her.
Do I think that's the main reason she lost?
No.
It doesn't help, and I feel like I watched a video earlier where the argument was just that most voters are stupid.
Yeah. That was, I think, Socrates was a big like, democracy is stupid because the people are not educated. I think that.
And to be clear, I'm not saying that as an argument for democracy is bad. I still think it's better than like tyranny, whatever. But it is kind of a negative shout out. Boo fascism.
Boo fascism. Fuck you, Trump.
Yeah. It's when you're making a campaign, you kind of got to keep that in mind because if you're campaigning on the ideas of, oh, you got to be smart fella.
Yeah.
And we have good ideas, but we're not very charismatic or whatever. People aren't going to vote for you. They're going to go vote for the funny guy.
Yeah, I feel like that there was a big lack of articulating like what we're actually doing. Like with the Democratic Party, especially last term or last running election cycle, is they tried to fight fire with fire with like Trump's like, you guys are going to ruin the economy. And they're like, no, we're not.
You're going to ruin the economy, but Republicans don't care about if he's going to ruin the economy because he is.
Yeah, the economy's going in the shitter. Eggs are up.
Eggs are up. That's crazy. Eggs are up. But obviously they're going to be. But people weren't voting for him because of the economy. They were voting for him because they liked it when he talked about the economy, even though he's just lying to you.
Right. I feel like, but with like a lot of the Democrats' defense was like, that's not true, but they didn't establish what they were going to do to fix it. Yeah. And I feel like that's just like inherently way harder to do because in order to do that, you have to get people to listen to you for more than 30 seconds.
Which TikTok exists. No one's doing that.
Yeah.
People are voting because they saw a funk edit of Donald Trump getting shot, and they were like, that was badass. I'm 12.
Yeah. That is a really hard flick of Trump when he's got like the fist up after he got shot. I hate the guy, but it's a tough photo. Do not. You said I wish. Let's not finish.
I wish that the person in the crowd didn't die when they got shot.
That is terrible.
And I think that it's crazy that people are like, thank the hand of God saved Trump there. And it's like, what about the guy that died?
What about his father?
What's wrong with you?
Wasn't he like with his kids?
I think he was like a firefighter.
Yeah. And he was like a father. And yeah, that's terrible.
But our guy didn't die. Thank God the rapist is alive.
Yeah.
Monster. I wish the Democrats kind of leaned into the fact that he's a rapist more.
Well, I feel like they tried that the first time because I remember like the first time he was running and like everyone didn't know that he was like a rapist. And they were like, hey, this guy's a rapist. And it didn't work
as like the October surprise or whatever. But I feel like he's still got to bring it up. So, like if I'm on a debate stage with him, I wouldn't call him President Trump. I would call him rapist.
Yeah.
Because he's a rapist. I'm not a politician. I'm not trained in anything. But I wouldn't be nice to the rapist.
Right. And to segue back into what we're supposed to be talking about, that is what Stephen A. Smith would do, is he would tear him up on the debate store. He would go, aren't you a rapist? A bunch. And
he's a Charizard fan too.
I love the way Stephen A. Smith debates because he is a very cordial person. Like he'll sit there and he'll wait and he'll go like this. And he'll listen to you and he'll wait for you to say something and then he'll smile once he thinks of it and you can see the gears turn in his head. And then he'll say like, have you lost your mind or some shit? And it's so funny. And he would be a great candidate, but I don't think he'd be a good president. And that's the thing that I feel like we're losing in American politics, other than the plot entirely.
I feel like he could be like a governor or a senator.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a good candidate and a good politician are like opposite ends of the spectrum now, because Trump has kind of created this thing of like politicians are evil, which
they are.
They are.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party also evil.
Yeah.
Also pretty terrible.
It's like that we're gonna do genocide, but we're gonna put a gay sticker on those.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
Genocide's bad.
Shout out. Yeah, genocide is bad.
And that's part of why I think they lost.
Yeah.
The Kamala
Not addressing
election.
Israel was a big one, but
Huge one.
I don't know if you know this, but AIPAC, which is the American-Israeli PAC, which is a big lump of money that they use to lobby politicians, which is legal in America to lobby politicians.
Very legal. We should start doing.
They predominantly donate to Democratic candidates, and I don't have a source for this. So if I am wrong again, please tell me. I know it's right because I did forensics in high school, so I did Google a lot of this stuff at one point in time, but I don't have the numbers.
Okay.
But I know that Joe Biden, the number in my head's like $12 million they gave to Joe Biden, and I know that they're big with the Democrats. And I also think, again, I didn't look into this. I probably should have prepared it, but I didn't think we'd be talking about Israel today.
Right.
But the Gaza ceasefire that happened as soon as Trump got into office, I think it's the same thing that happened with them lobotomizing TikTok, where they're like, thank you, President Trump, for saving us. And it was just them wanting to put the fascist in power because he's better for them.
Stephen A. Smith.
So if it's fascism or Stephen A. Smith, help us, Stephen A. Smith. President Smith rolls off the tongue. Stephen A. Smith is a great candidate name.
I think in 2009 he said he was a big fan of Bernie Sanders. There's like a tweet that surfaced about that.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders was a cool one. I feel like Bernie Sanders was just too old and too left.
I think too left is for sure why the Democratic Party lit him on fire in 2016.
That's a really funny thing too. Is Trump?
He would have won.
Yeah,
almost for sure.
Oh, for sure. But like Trump's like the radical left, the radical liberals. The Democratic Party is not like left wing at all.
No, they're not.
Like I did a presentation I mentioned I competed forensics. But talking about the radical left, and it was an example of what radical policy would be in reference to gun laws. And with Trump, it's like, or the right wing, like the ideal world for the NRA would be
everyone buys a gun.
Everyone buys guns. There's no registration. You just go to Walmart and get a gun. And the ideal left would be like no guns.
Yeah. It depends.
No. This is we're saying like the most liberal, like far left wing extreme would be no guns.
It depends, because if you talk to like a lot of communists, they'll say
yeah. Well, I'm not talking about like liberal and like as like the word for like socialism.
Right.
I'm talking about like the extremes of both sides of this specific argument.
Okay.
And unlimited guns. And if you look at Kamala and Tim Walz is on stage like, I have a gun. I like shooting my gun. I love my gun. These guns are important.
Minnesota.
Right. And like Kamala and Tim Walz are not radicals.
No.
It's just, oh my gosh, it's insufferable.
If they were radicals, they might have won. Can I say that if they were just up there and like they didn't say we're gonna do communism, but they were like we're gonna put the company's hands in the company in the hands of the worker. I mean, they win. They're like we're gonna do freedom pacts with all the companies where every McDonald's worker gets one freedom point, and a freedom point is like a vote in McDonald's.
And we get to the fucking Democratic National Convention, and you get like Harris, Castro. Shout out Fidel. Can we get Fidel on the podcast?
Is he alive?
No. I love Cuban history, though. I could talk about Cuban
history. Could we get Trotsky on the pod? Ooh. Or is he a little too ice-picked out right now?
He is very ice-picked out.
Ice-picked out. Was he the guy that had sex with what's her name?
Who?
The one Mexican artist?
Oh,
Frida Kahlo? Did
That's
he have sex with Frida Kahlo?
Google that. This is going to be our closing comment for the podcast because we are almost at an hour exactly. Trotsky Kahlo.
Inside Frida Kahlo's affair with communist revolutionary Leon Trotsky, because I remember he left to go to Mexico, and then he got his head bashed in with an ice pick.
I think I mentioned Leo Trotsky on last podcast too.
Probably, yeah.
Dude, I'm a huge history nerd. Stay tuned for one of my other podcasts that's going to be about history. I love podcasts, guys. But I like the part of history I've studied most is post-Tsar, like right at the revolution, and like pre-Tsar, post-Tsar. So I love Trotsky. He's my favorite character in history. history. But yeah,
He's tragically dead. But he did have sex with Frida Kahlo.
he did.
We really didn't do much with the whiteboard today.
Yeah, we should be better. That was like the main thing we said.
Yeah, the main thing we said talking to each other going into recording this
Do you
one.
think we should draw Frida Kahlo and Leo Trotsky?
No.
Yeah, the thumbnail's gonna go, hey look, it's Anthony Davis.
Speaking of Anthony Davis,
They look the same.
I pulled up a self-portrait dedicated to Frida Kahlo. Self-portrait dedicated to Leon Trotsky by Frida Kahlo. Look that up at home. She's got the unibrow, which is very Anthony Davis style.
AD or Frida Kahlo.
Take your pick. Nah, it's Frida Kahlo.
Doesn't he have like the braids?
In my head, he's bald, but all basketball players are bald in my head.
That's true. LeBron is bald again though.
Yeah, LeBron, he should always be bald.
LeBron,
Picture him with hair.
please get on the podcast.
LeBron cast. We'll change our names of the LeBron cast.
We will.
Come on.
We will.
And buy us a boat.
Yes. Okay, guys. We're gonna close out this podcast though. So be sure to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Leave a
Comment in the
comment.
section what you want us to change in the future. If you want more structure or less structure,
Yeah.
or anything, we'll do it.
Share
Boat.
share with your friends. The first person to comment gets unlimited say, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if you
leave a comment, we will do it.
we will read it. Like
We'll
we
read it.
got nothing going on.
Yeah.
Bored? Very bored.
Too.
Yeah. So if you made it this far, first of all, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you got issues.
Yeah, you're a freak.
Oh, these guys are going to talk about sports and news. What is this? What are they,
Yeah.
white?
But it'd be like this part, finding stuff to talk about would be way easier if you left a question.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for the podcast, honestly?
Ask me a sports question that's about one of the sports I care about.
Yeah. So
Football or baseball.
Yeah.
Or basketball.
Or basketball.
If it's soccer, I'll hurt myself.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You think we're ever gonna talk about soccer?
I hope not, because not only do I know nothing about it, but I also actively dislike it.
I don't hate soccer.
See, the thing is, one of my things about soccer is they don't know how long the game is. They don't know how to use a clock.
Yeah, that is true. The ref,
That's crazy.
I like that the ref is like, we'll add 3 minutes.
And when they don't tell them how many minutes they're adding at the end of the game, figure out how to use a clock.
Yeah. I feel like, are you allowed to wear a watch while playing soccer?
I don't know.
Because I feel like that's like an advantage.
I don't care, man. It's soccer. It's crazy that they don't know how to use a clock. Clocks have been around for a while, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
90 minutes.
Especially in England, they got that big one.
Yeah, they got Big Ben. It's
They got
tall
Big
enough.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Well,
Sorry,
we do.
I said a sports word.
Yeah, it's a sports word. He is fifth in all-time passing yards.
Wow, a callback to earlier in the podcast.
Call back to earlier. Barely ahead of Phillip Rivers. Do you think, I guess one last question. How many yards do you think Aaron Rodgers ends his career with? Do you think he plays anymore?
I don't think he plays anymore. I feel like the Jets took the fire out of him.
What I'll say is the Jets have said that they want to move on from him.
They did. I read that, and also I want him to be done. I don't like him.
I don't like him either. He's annoying. He's like a drama queen diva.
He's dating Danica Patrick. I think they're married, actually. Look that up. I know that they dated at one point.
He's dating Mallory Edens.
Did they date at one point then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yeah. Gosh, I hate Danica Patrick. And you know what? For a long time, I hated Danica Patrick, and I'm consider myself a feminist. But fuck you, Danica Patrick. And I felt bad. I felt bad to shit on the only women driver for NASCAR in my lifetime. But now she's like a right-wing nut that does terrible punditry for F1, what sport she knows nothing about.
And dated Aaron Rodgers.
Who's also a right-wing nut.
Whose family hates him.
With his stupid mullet.
Oh, I'm going to go into a shack in the woods and stay in the darkness for a week.
You know, the part that brings me happiness about that whole scenario is I'm so confident Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy to beat his wife, but that wife was Danica Patrick. So
what I'll say
no one's listening anymore.
About that segment is I watch, one of the sports YouTubers I watch is Thomas Daniel Grassi. He's a Packers fan. And during that time was when Aaron Rodgers was like, I don't know if I want to play for the Packers anymore. I don't know if I want to move. So the entire time, every like couple days, there would be a post or a video from Tom Grassi being like, I don't know, man. I don't know what he's going to do. And the only updates I get is that he's jacking off in the woods right now.
What? He said that?
No. But it's like every other day, Aaron Rodgers would be like, I don't know. I just need to do more drugs in my shack in the woods, and then maybe I'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's good at football, though. I like the ball.
It pisses me off because he beat my Lions a lot.
He did.
He probably beat your Giants a lot.
No, that was when the Giants were good.
Really?
I don't know. We don't have time to look up another stat. Yeah. We're on like 6 minutes overtime. You guys can some bonus stuff. We gotta draw one more thing right here, though, so there's no blank space in the thumbnail.
What should it be?
What should we draw?
A boner?
No, don't. You could draw it. Actually, yeah, draw a boner. It'd probably get good clicks.
But that's not.
Draw the Among Us character.
I can't.
What?
It's too scary.
It's here. I got it.
Do it green.
Do it green? Okay.
Yeah.
We're definitely not clip farming. We're just thumbnail farming.
Yeah. Crazy keister.
It's supposed to be a backpack.
The hell up. No, this backpack doesn't. Here, give me that. Backpack doesn't look like that. It's like. Shit, I can't draw anything at all. You just kind of do like.
Yeah, that's way better.
That's way better than your fucking Patrick Star with a huge ass.
Bad. All right, guys, it's been good. Thank you guys for staying this long. Share with your friends. Follow us on our Blue Sky that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, it's
on Blueski.
On Blueski.
Hit the Blueski.
Hit the Bluesk.
Hit all the links. Check out my blog.
Follow me on Instagram and DM me mean.
Yeah,
things.
DM him mean things.
Really mean things.
The meanest thing we'll read on the podcast.
Yeah, unless it's a slur, in which case he'll read it.
If you interact with this podcast in any way, we will read it. That's a promise. Scouts honor.
Scouts honor. Peace.